Hello, ICS students. I am Mr. Sutton. I am one of the Math 10 teachers at Heron High School. And today we're going to be talking about Skill 2, which is simplifying with distribution. So first we're going to talk about what the distributive property is. So maybe you've seen this definition before where we have x times and then in parentheses y plus z. And then on the right side, we have it. We say that it's equivalent to just x times y plus x times z. So where this comes from is we have x times y plus z. A lot of times you'll see these arrows drawn in. So we have x multiplied by y. X multiplied by y. And then plus x multiplied by z. Okay. And we can also think about it the other way. A lot of times we're used to seeing the distributive property from the left side, but if we have this x over on the right side, we could either switch it around so that we would have x times y plus z, do it the way we normally do, or you could distribute from this side and say y times x plus y plus z times x. So let's go ahead and look at this numerical example. Here we have this 2 times 3 plus 4 in parentheses, and on the right side we've distributed it. So now we want to see if this is true, if these are actually equal to each other. So on the left side, I'm going to solve it by adding the 3 and the 4 first. So that would be 7, and then we would still be multiplying by 2. And on the right side, I'm going to solve it by doing what's in the parentheses first. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 times 4 is 8. So then on the left side, we have 7 times 2, or 2 times 7, which is 14. And on the right side, we have 6 plus 8, which is also 14. So yes, these are the same. Yes, the distributive property holds true in this case. Now let's look at some examples where here we are distributing a negative. Okay, so a lot of times the way this is explained is just think about, instead of there being a minus sign out in front here, think about, oh, this is actually a -1 being multiplied by 2x plus 3. And now we want to distribute that -1. So -1 times 2x is -2x. And then -1 times 3 is -3, or -3. You could also write this as -2x plus a -3. Those are the same. Okay. So same idea for this next example. I think the next example is tricky because I think a lot of people see the number that's out in front is the 2x, and a lot of people will want to distribute that. But if we think about what we did up here, say 2x, and then instead of this just being a minus sign, we're going to say it's a -1 multiplied by 3y plus 1. So really what we want to distribute is the -1. This 2x is going to stay out there by itself. We're not multiplying this 2x by anything, so we don't need to distribute. The -1 is what's being multiplied. So we distribute that. So we have 2x, and then we'd have -1 times 3y is going to be a -3y, and then -1 times 1 is -1. All right, and so the next one I already have written here. I changed this to -1 times this expression, and I drew in my distribution arrows. So -1 times 4x is a -4x. -1 times -y is going to be a positive y. We want to be careful here. When we're distributing negatives, we can get lost in those minus signs. So make sure -1 times -y is a positive y, and then -1 times 2 is going to be a -2. And for this last example, I went ahead and wrote -1 times, and then this expression, and I drew in my distribution arrows. Notice I did not distribute this -1 to this positive one here. This +1 is outside the parentheses, so it is not being multiplied by this -1. So I have -1 times -5x, which is a positive 5x. -1 times 2y, which is a minus 2y. And then the +1 just gets attached there at the end. Nothing changes there. Now we're going to take a look at adding and subtracting binomials. This has a lot to do with the combining like terms that we did in the last skill. So we have these binomials, and we want to see if we need to distribute anything. There's nothing going on outside these parentheses, so I think no in this case. And then we want to see what terms we can combine. So we can go ahead and drop the parentheses since we're not distributing. So 2x plus 5 plus 3x minus 2. And the 2x and the 3x, we can combine those. So that'll be 5x. And then the 5 and the -2, we can combine those. So that'll be plus 3. 5 minus 2 equals 3. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next example. So here, once again, nothing to distribute, nothing outside. So we can go ahead and drop the parentheses 4x minus 3y plus a -6x plus 2y. So the 4x and the -6x can be combined. So that would be minus 2x. And then the -3y plus 2y would be a minus 1y, or just minus y. So you want to make sure you're keeping your signs together. Like when I combined this minus 3y and this plus 2y, that was a -3y plus 2y. -3 plus 2 is -1. So let's go ahead and look at example 7. Here is where we actually do have something to distribute. We have this negative sign outside of this 5x plus 7. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this so that it's more clear as to what I need to distribute. So this negative sign, what it means is we're subtracting this 5x plus 7. So the negative really, that we know that it goes with this expression. It would not distribute this other way because we're subtracting 5x plus 7. So that we know that this negative belongs over here. So I went ahead and rewrote that as a -1 multiplied by 5x plus 7, and it's going to distribute this way. So we would have 2x minus 3, and now that we're distributing, we can go ahead and drop the parentheses, minus 5x minus 7, and we can combine like terms. 2x minus 5x is going to be a minus 3x, and then -3 minus 7, be careful here, will be a minus 10. -3 minus 7. So we're getting more negative. It's going to be a minus 10. Very similar setup here for the next one. Again, we want to think about what we are subtracting. So it's minus this -x minus 4. So we know we're going to have to distribute this way. So when I go ahead and write it as -1 times, I know I'm going to have to distribute that -1 over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So after you distribute, you can go ahead and drop the parentheses. So we'd have -3x minus 4y, and then -1 times -x is going to be a positive x, and then -1 times -4y is going to be a positive 4y. Next, we combine like terms. So -3x plus x will give me a -2x, and then -4y plus 4y would give me 0. Those cancel each other out. So you could say plus 0 here, but I think it's better to just leave that blank. Plus 0 is the same as not doing anything at all. So let's go ahead and take a look at these last set of examples here. So now we are simplifying expressions with distribution. So this kind of combines the two things that we just talked about. So we are distributing negatives and simplifying using combine like terms. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first example. So we have this 2 to distribute. 2 times 3x and 2 times negative 5. So 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And then plus 3x on the end. So combine like terms now. We have 6x plus 3x be 9x minus 10. For this next one, we have this 3 to distribute in this first expression. So 3 times 6x is 18x. 3 times 4 is 12. And then we have the negative 2 to distribute to the second expression. We want to distribute this minus sign with that. So negative 2 times 5x is a negative 10x. And then negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Now we can combine like terms. 18x minus 10x is 8x. And then 12 minus 4 is 8. For example 11, we have the negative 5 to distribute to the 3x and the 3. So negative 5 times 3x is negative 15x. And then negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. The 4x stays out in front, does not get distributed because it's not being multiplied by this expression. So then we can combine like terms. 4x minus 15x is negative 11x. And then the negative 15 just stays out in the end. For this next one, the negative 3x needs to be distributed to all three terms in this expression. And then the negative 3x out here just stays by itself, does not get distributed anywhere. It's not being multiplied by anything. So negative 3 times 5x is negative 15x. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And then we have a minus 3x. Now we can combine like terms. Negative 15x plus 6x minus 3x is negative 12x. And then the negative 6 stays right up there. There's no like term for that. You also may have solved it this way, where you took this 5x minus 2x and simplified that first to just be 3x, and then distribute it to get negative 9x minus 6 minus 3x. And then once you combine like terms, you would get the same thing, negative 12x minus 6. So make sure you try both of these. I think the second one might be a little simpler. So you might want to consider simplifying things inside the parentheses first if you can. You don't necessarily have to, because we did it the first way without doing that, but it's something to consider. And for the last one, we need to take the 6 and distribute it to the x plus 2y, and we need to take the negative 2 and distribute it to the 3y minus 5x. So 6 times x is 6x, 6 times 2y is 12y, and then we have the plus y, and then negative 2 times 3y is negative 6y, negative 2 times negative 5x is a plus 10x, then we combine like terms. 6x plus 10x is 16x, 12y plus 1y minus 6y is 7y. All right, this is the end of the video. Go back and rewatch parts if you need to, pause things where you need to. Some notes that I think you should write down is all of the examples and make sure you label them. So distribute negative, examples 1 through 4, add and subtract binomials, examples 5 through 8, and simplify expressions in distribution, examples 9 through 13. Steps, simplify within parentheses first if you can, distribute then if you can, and then combine like terms if you can. If you have any questions, make sure you're signing up for office hours on Wednesday. And I will see you then. Have a good day.